and welcome to another edition of Eastlink in Focus program. I'm your host, Tony Dorian, and I want to thank you, our viewers, for making this program possible and choosing Eastlink as your provider. In the studio today, I have a Nova Scotian author joining us. I'm pretty excited for you to meet her. Her name is Shelley Cromwell, and she is the first Black woman from Nova Scotia to write a science fiction fantasy romance series. The novel is called NEWBIA. It's her debut novel, and I'm so excited that she's here with us. So welcome to the program. I can't wait for the audience to get to know you. So right off the bat, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background?
Sure, and thank you for having me here.
Wonderful.
My background, actually, I was born here in Dartmouth, Halifax, but I grew up as a child in Weymouth Falls. And then around the age of, I'm going to say like 14, I started to kind of hang out in my town of Dartmouth, and I grew up there.
That's wonderful. And, you know, lately we've been hearing a lot of things about how wonderful, especially in today's times, that Nova Scotia is a great place to live. So you had a little bit of experience with country life and city life.
Yes, I have. I can actually say that my country life, but as a child, I didn't really like it. But I had no choice but to go, to go down home. That's what I call Weymouth Falls, is down home.
Sure.
And then I developed a lot of friendships with my first cousins and second cousins and things. So I started to enjoy it a little bit more. But then as I became a teenager and I was going to school in Dartmouth, I kind of liked coming back to the city so much and having my friends here too. So I got best of both worlds.
That's wonderful. Okay, so we might as well jump right in. So we have this novel, NEWBIA. It's been out in the market since 2019, November 2019. So here you are. You're deciding, I've got this novel in me. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the inspiration? And there's a bit of a unique story here, I'm finding.
Yes. So who actually encouraged me in the beginning to even write this was my professor at Neptune Theatre. I was acting at the time, and her name was Angela. She actually encouraged me to write it. And because I was telling her about it when I was going for the classes, and she was like, that's amazing, you should write it. So I did. And then in the end, I really didn't think it was going to do anything. And my husband kept encouraging me, get it out, get it out, get it out. And 10 years later, I got it out.
Yeah, so it's nice to hear that. Sometimes you hear people think that everyone has a story in them, and it's so wonderful that you had, these mentors around you, your husband and your professor. They're basically saying, get this out of you.
Yes.
Now, there's another unique side of this, and I'm sure our viewers are going to be really interested in this. And getting it out of you, what was the inspiration? Where were the seeds planted for this science fiction / fantasy / love story? Where did it come from?
So on April 15th of 2009, I went to sleep, and I woke up the next morning, and I had dreamt about the first to two chapters of my book, NEWBIA. And then after that, I had continued going back into my sleep, into my dream, where I had left off the night before, and I did that for 2 months straight.
I know, and reading up a little bit about this, I mean, I wake up in the morning with sometimes a little bit of brain fog, and it's like, oh, that was a weird dream, and you kind of have little glimpses here and there. But for you, it was actually quite vivid, I understand.
Yes. So it's actually funny that you mentioned that, because I was just talking to my husband last night about this, and one of the things that the reason why I was so able to dream and to write NEWBIA itself is because during my sleep, I would enter into Naira. She's the main character, almost as if I was becoming her in a different world. So during that time in my sleep, my reality was my dream. So when I woke up, it was almost as if I had already lived that part. So it was easier for me to write it out. So when I was writing it out, I was actually reliving what I had already seen 8 hours ago.
So in a way, when you think science fiction and how you're dreaming up new realms, literally in your dream, it was real for you. So, I mean, it's almost like, form and function, and the dream state, it really planted the seeds for this novel, didn't it?
Yes, it did, actually. And I think that the reason why I was going through such a parallel of a different universe or a realm, however you want to say, is because during that time, that was around the time that I was having all of my surgeries.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, you said you had surgery, so this was also part of the journey of how this novel came to be?
Yes. Um, I'm a little secretive on some of the health issues that I've dealt with over my life,
Sure,
but I mean, these are who I am. So I don't want
sure.
to kind of, keep that to myself anymore just because it is who I am.
Of course.
And yes, the surgeries that I went through, I was diagnosed with cancer at the age of 25. And I went through 7 surgeries, year back to back. My last one was 2010. So during the time that I was writing NEWBIA, 2009, I was waiting for my last surgery to come. And I think that my subconsciousness was actually trying to heal itself or help itself to deal with what I was dealing with. And I actually believe that me physically falling asleep, I would mentally and subconsciously leave and go somewhere that was not so scary, I think.
Sure. Okay. And so we can celebrate, being a cancer survivor. We're celebrating you being a debut author as well.
Yes, yes, you can. And I thank you for that.
I love it. So I want to go back to, I think it's quite a milestone. You're the first person of color from Nova Scotia who has written something in this genre. And do you feel like you're a bit of a pioneer when you discovered that?
Um, Actually, I'm still kind of absorbing that because
Sure.
I don't like to see myself in that view just because I feel like I'm equal to everyone else. However, I know that I had planted a seed that now I want others to grow from. Um, that's a lot to
Sure.
carry for one person, but I'm carrying it and I'm trying to pass it along to everyone, regardless if they're black, they're white, everyone. I think everyone should go after their dreams and fulfill anything that is put for them, which is a lot.
Sure, and that's a wonderful message. Now, writing itself is difficult enough, but here you're writing science fiction, which really it's fantasy. It takes a high level of creativity. Is it more difficult for you to write about Nubia than, let's say, you're back in Weymouth or you're in downtown Dartmouth? Because those are real places. Is it more difficult creating the world of Nubia?
No, it is actually. And the reason it isn't is because, like, like you just said, this is my reality, so I can write about it. I can write about Weymouth, but during those 8 hours of my sleep, that's my reality. So I can come back and I can wake up and tell you exactly what happened in that reality, even though it was a sleep run.
Right. Okay. Now, I know that in your notes on learning about you, this novel debuted on November 15th, 2019. The next one is also going to be debuting on November 15th. I noticed that, and there's a special date about November 15th.
Actually, funny that you say that because so in the book, Naira actually is 24 years old, and they don't come for seeds, which are humans, for 26 years.
Oh my
So he
goodness.
came.
I'm going to interrupt you there. We're going to stop for break, and we're going to continue this conversation when we come back. Stay tuned, folks.
Evolution, Nova Scotia's martial arts. Wednesdays at 6:30 on Eastlink Community TV, Channel 610.
In the frigid Arctic waters of northern Canada is a thriving ecosystem, home to one of the world's most mysterious creatures, the narwhal. Narwhals can hold their breath for up to 20 minutes while feeding under the Arctic ice. They can dive over a kilometer deep, and they use echolocation to hunt for fish and squid, often while swimming upside down. One of the narwhal's best-known features is its tusk, which is really an ivory tooth that grows up to 3 meters long on males. Narwhals are social animals, often traveling in pods of 3 to 8 individuals, though herds of hundreds are seen on occasion. Today, researchers continue to unravel the many secrets of the narwhal and its Arctic Ocean habitat, and that's just a start. To learn more about the narwhal, visit hww.ca.
Hello and welcome welcome back. We're in conversation with Shelley. We're talking about her debut novel, NEWBIA. And before break, we were mentioning about the significance of November 15th. So maybe we'll continue that conversation.
No problem. I was actually saying that in the book, Naira is 24 years old when Sebastian comes back for her, or comes for her, and they don't normally come for 26 years. So there's a 2-year difference when he came to find her. So I wanted to do a 2-year difference between each book.
Okay,
So that's
that's wonderful. You're right. So there's a rhyme and reason to this. So, and the 26 years, is that significant in some way?
I don't believe so. I just think that was just something that I dreamt about.
Okay. So for our viewers, just to get a little taste, because I'm sure they're going to be very interested in reading this novel, would you mind sharing maybe a little bit from your story?
Sure.
Wonderful.
This is actually from The Stranger. It is page 13, and it is Sebastian speaking. Okay, my name is Sebastian Brinks, and I am not of this place. I come from a different realm called NEWBIA. NEWBIA is an outside realm that created Earth for our seeds to grow. Seeds being you, humans. My kind cannot have children unless they are made on Earth, first by the men of NEWBIA and the women like yourself. After children are born, they are brought to our realm where they become, like me, a Nubian. I am of human descent, of course, though we are more aware of our gifts we have. We live in a different realm, as I already stated, and there is no hate towards our fellow beings, absolutely no chaos. Unless, of course, we do crime while on Earth finding our seeds, meaning if we do something bad, any misdemeanor while we are here, we pay for the consequences when we return back home to NEWBIA.
Wonderful. So Naira and Sebastian, they're the central characters, and they literally are star-crossed lovers. Is that true?
Yes.
And
yes, go ahead.
One is from Earth, one is from NEWBIA?
Well, they're all from Earth originally because they are created here first. The babies are created here first, and then they're taken back to NEWBIA where they become Nubian.
It sounds like a very rich world, the realm of NEWBIA.
It's a lot like Earth. However, everything that's there, it's all ran off of the Earth, unlike us, where we do run it off the Earth. We take from the Earth, but it's more trees that are cut down for, to heat their homes, and water to use for their cars. And everything is eco-friendly there, and it's absolutely beautiful.
Wonderful. And one of your reviewers said something that really intrigued me, and it was that you've created your novel in a way that the reader can sort of immerse themselves a bit, and I might interpret a character a little differently than you do. And I'd love you to speak to that for a minute.
Sure. So I actually found that when I was writing it in first person, I was developing, even though I had read it, I was developing almost like a visual chord with Naira, that I knew that everybody else would grab that chord and they would become her. Because when you do read the book, as I'm talking in first person, you become Naira.
Okay.
So everything that she does and all her feeling, and I'm very expressive in the things that I discuss, because I'm a very expressive person. You actually get a feeling of what I felt when I was her. And just think of it this way. You are actually entering my world. When you are reading those words on that paper, you are reading my world of NEWBIA. You are going to see what I see only in your perspective, because you are different from me. You're not who I am. But in the end, at the end result of it, what I need you to get out of it, you will get out of it, and which is you will become her, you will see things through her, and you can experience this world that is unreal to our natural world.
That's wonderful. I'm really fascinated by the writing process itself. Did you have to do much research for this, or really is it really, I know it's based from the dreams, but after the fact, did you have to plug in and do a bit of research on this?
No. I actually took everything from the dream. I didn't divert. I didn't change anything. Everything that you are reading, I, for some reason, dreamt of.
And you said earlier that you basically had the first two chapters from that first dream. But I understand that each time you go to sleep, you get another little piece of this. Is that right?
Yes. Yes.
So are there times when it's like, I can't wait to go to sleep to see what happens next?
Yes. But in order for me to dream and to go back into NEWBIA, I have to go into a deep sleep. So
Okay.
I have to actually go to sleep. I can't nap, because napping, I won't dream of it. However, book 2, I have to bring this up because you said about dreaming. Book 2, I've actually been daydreaming and dreaming.
Wow. Okay. So that's something going to be quite the sequel.
Yes, it is. Yes,
Wonderful.
absolutely.
Now, as a science fiction writer, I have to ask, thinking about contemporary science fiction, we sometimes, like, it seems like your story is so hopeful, and it's really full of light, and, there's a love story, but there's a lot out there now. It's very dystopian and dark, and, I'm thinking of movies like The Hunger Games and novels that are very dystopian and dark. But you went a different direction. I'd love you to talk about that a little bit.
Well, I'm going to have to shock you, because book 2 is in the direction of every genre. I hit every genre in book 2. But book 1 is basically just an introduction to, I think now, because I'm going off my dreams, I think is an introduction to who they are and the plot of what is actually to come in the series to come.
Okay. Oh, that's wonderful. Now, part of the creativity of writing this, you also are involved in the cover art of this novel. It's quite beautiful. So we're going to show an image here for our viewers so they can see it as well. And I found it a little bit intriguing. And also, you plant a few seeds as well. I see multiple planets. So I think for me, I'm going, wow. So is NEWBIA a solar system? It looks like something from Saturn. But then the other piece is you have silhouettes of the characters. I'm assuming they're the star-crossed lovers. But you can't really see them. So I'd love you to talk about the cover art.
Sure. The reason why I actually went with the silhouettes is because, like, again, I want each individual to have their own individual experience. They will become Naira. You will become Sebastian. So
yes.
I didn't want to put a face so that's the face that you're going to see, because I want it initially, I want it to be your face when you read it.
Oh, it's wonderful. Okay. Anyway.
And then, oh, sorry.
No, you go right ahead.
Okay. And the planets, actually, Saturn will be revealed in book 2 on why it's on that cover.
Okay, to be continued. I love it. And on that note, we're going to come back more with Shelley Cromwell, and we're going to be talking more about her novel, NEWBIA, and the follow-up, which is coming soon. Please stay tuned.
I'm Arthur LeBlanc, Lieutenant Governor of Nova Scotia, and it is my great pleasure to invite you to Government House for our Evenings at Government House series.
Evenings at Government House, Saturdays at 6 p.m. on Eastlink 10 and 610. Available only to Eastlink customers.
What's your vision for Canada? We dream of a country where each new generation can explore rugged shorelines, wide open prairies, and vast forests, a place where wildlife can thrive. This is the vision that drives the Nature Conservancy of Canada. We identify the land, we secure it, and we protect it forever. It's that simple and that effective, but we can't do it alone. To find out how you can help, visit natureconservancy.ca.
Hello and welcome back. We're in conversation with Shelley Cromwell. She is the author of NEWBIA, a science fiction fantasy love story. It was her debut novel, and she's working on novel 2, and it's going to be released very soon. I'm just going to read a little passage that I just find really plants a seed and makes me want to read this novel. They come for us every 26 years. They are of human descent, living outside our solar system, and one of the first realms ever to exist. Earth is their creation and all that dwell within it. We belong to them. One has come for me, only to discover that we're connected through sensory perception since birth. Allow your mind to consume the evolutional explanation as I share with you my chronicles through the unknown. Anyway, that's so intriguing. I love it. Anyway, so I'm going to switch gears a little bit. So we're getting to know you, we're getting to know your novel. And I'd love to learn a little bit more about there's a craft side, but there's also a business side as well. And how has it been, post-COVID with all our restrictions and the reality of COVID? You have to market this thing, and how do you go about doing that?
Well, one of the things actually is first you have to have determination. And that's one of the things that has always been instilled into me by my parents, which I want to give a shout out to them, because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here. But it has been very difficult, actually, just because I wanted to do a book signing and I'm not able to do that. So I reached out to my mother, Charmaine Cromwell Sparks, and she's actually been my biggest advocate and my biggest supporter on helping me do a lot of my interviews and doing a lot of the interviews for newspapers. I recently actually just did a photo shoot with the mayor, Ben Cleveland of Digby.
That's wonderful.
Yes, so that's my latest. There's more to come, but I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah, and also in Dartmouth, you got to meet Mayor Mike Savage as well, I understand. Was that a good experience for you?
That was actually amazing. He's actually a lot of fun, really. I tried to get him to sit on the floor with me, and he wouldn't do it. So
that's wonderful.
But he took over, and it was amazing. He actually, all the shots that you see was him.
Now, another thing I want to ask you is, in your marketing, you made a distinct decision. A lot of people are going the self-publishing route these days, and they're making their novels available through like electronic copies, and people can read them on their Kobo or their Kindle or what have you. But you decided, no, people are going to have a hard copy of this book, and then they order them online. And I understand you got like worldwide distribution, which congratulations. But I'd love you to talk about that sort of decision that you made.
Sure. The reason why I went hard copy is because I actually want people to get a feel of what they're reading. You can't do that when you're reading it over a computer. And one of the things that I actually picked out for NEWBIA was the feeling of this book. The feeling will actually give you a sense of calmness, I felt, I should say. And that's what my aim was, and that's why I went with the actual book itself in your hand. However, though, I might be doing it auto soon.
Okay, and it just seems like there's a lot of heart there. That's what
There is.
Now, a question for you: the writing process. We have writer's block, and the reality is there. Your muse is obviously your dreams, but post-COVID, did that impact your writing at all? Like, you're writing the second novel. What has changed with writing the second novel?
Actually, it's a little bit better this time because I'm able to stay and focus just on NEWBIA Part 2. Mm-hmm. So it hasn't really affected anything for my writing style. I can't say that it has. The only thing that I have to say that it's affected is just the marketing part of it.
Sure. That's wonderful to hear. I want to read a couple of pieces of feedback from your fans out there. And one of them that really jumped out at me, and it was, I'm not a reader by any means. I enjoyed every minute of this book, and I read it in 2 days. That says everything. It's an amazing story, and I can't wait for part 2. So for me, I'm going, here's someone that's not even that keen on reading, and they're just voraciously reading this novel. How does that feel?
I got goosebumps just thinking of that, actually. You know what? I'm very humbled. I'm a very humbled person. So when I take something like that, I actually take it and I put it towards my next creation. It motivates me and it makes me try to be the best version of myself. And obviously what I'm delivering is what people want. And that's what I initially want now. It's gone beyond my dreams now. Now I want to make a series. Now I actually want to do this. So these are the things that my fans are giving me. Mm-hmm. They're giving me that inspiration to keep going forward. And I can't wait to keep giving it to them.
Now, I know that book 1, it ends in a cliffhanger, and you waited 2 years. So I imagine people are quite anxious. Do you have a little hint for your maybe some of your viewers out there that might have read the first novel and they can't wait for the second one?
Well, let's just say everything that you think is going to happen could happen. And everything you think that can happen, don't hold your breath because it might happen.
Well,
this is honestly a roller coaster even for me, because I do want to admit that book 2 is complete. It is in for editing. But I've been reading it and I'm blown away. That wonderful. Says a lot.
Well, that's pretty exciting. And you actually said there's a series. Do you see 3, 4, 5 down the road?
I already have my ending.
Wow.
I dreamt my ending during the 10 years that I wasn't writing. And I actually can see the process of me getting there. So I'm going to say, if I could guess, it's going to be about a 6 to 7 book series.
That's wonderful. Congratulations. Getting back to some of your grassroots marketing, there's something I thought you did that was very clever. And you sent a copy to Tyler Perry.
Yes.
Did you hear back? I love that you did that.
I did. So I didn't hear directly from him or anything. So I sent it registered mail. And I had to get someone had to sign for it that was from the actual studio. And I got confirmation on March 18th.
So down the road, I mean, never say never. Would you like to see this maybe turned into some sort of interpretation, like a movie or a series of some form?
That's my next step, actually. I'm moving towards either a series or a movie. And I'm hoping that Tyler Perry, out of everyone that I can actually go with, or Netflix, picks it up.
Wow, that's pretty exciting. So you heard it here, folks. We might be seeing the precursor to something great down the road. I love it. So let's have a look at your future as a writer. Do you see yourself moving into other genres, or is there something else that you think you'd like to tackle as a writer?
Yes, actually. I have about 50 short stories already written, just that I've written over the years. But as for to change my genre, I think I like science fiction just because I like the unknown. I like to be able to play with the idea I can do absolutely anything and imagine anything and not be constricted to just, well, that's not true.
Sure.
With science fiction and fantasy, anything is possible, anything. And my mind is one of the most creative minds that I actually know for myself.
Wonderful.
So I have lots to give.
Shelley, it's been wonderful having you here and showing us your world of NEWBIA. Anyway, folks, thank you so much for joining us this week. Thanks for making this program possible. Shelley, you've been a great guest. Thank you so much. My producer, Michael, thanks for making it all happen, and we'll see you next time.